marker in. Okay, so today is how are we gonna get out of the cave? Kind of important question here, because if we can run into the cave, which is a problem. Okay, so we can get into the cave, but once we're in here, well, what happens? Well, we can run right, and then left, and that's it. Like we're stuck in here forever. So I think what would be really nice is to have another screen that we could run to that would allow us to climb out. So I'm thinking that what is a ladder? Well, it would probably just be graphically, it would be a cave like this with the rungs of a ladder coming down. Hello, Zilby. Thank you for this. Also, you're not changing the volume, are you? I hope not. He's sitting on the keyboard right over the media controls too, so that's all fun. We don't need to do that. Well, hello. How are you doing today? Sleepy now? And we've got purrs too. I don't know if I can. Don't know if people will catch this. Let me turn up the gain. No, the mic doesn't catch the purrs. I need like a lapel mic. Up, up, up. No. No chewing fingers. He's in that the vet was telling us that he's in that age where he's teething, so he wants to chew on everything. And he's getting used to the idea that he can't hard bite down on us. But Zilby, if you want to play, I've got something for you. Also, which reminds me, where's that camera? The camera was actually loading today, which was really nice. Which means that I can. Oh, there you are. I can turn that on, and I don't know if it exactly captures. You. I think it's gonna be hard to see him go play fetch. Sometimes he often brings it back if he's in a mood. So I will move over like that. He chased after it, but then he got distracted. He's behind the green screen now, which is I have no idea where he is. Okay, so what were we doing? I need to re-unmute my music. Where'd that go? That one. Okay, so we want to be able to get out of here. So we want some kind of ladder, which means we want like the actual graphics of a ladder coming down. So I wish I had a better view, maybe something like that. Okay, so we need to design and actually have that like something that we can draw out for that. I'm thinking that we could do this as like an image maybe, or we can actually draw it out using just like rectangles, and that might not be too bad. We could probably just keep one drawing and do it over everything else. So let's create a branch for this, and I'm actually gonna assign this to myself. Well, hello, welcome back. Did you bring your ball? No, you put your ball in your food dish. Well, then sorry, I can't throw it for you again. Go get your ball. All right, taking my. There you go. Tea is ready. To refresh you. And create the layer, get back onto the surface. Get you off the main. Go. Push you up. Alright. Okay, so let's see if we can create that. So what are you gonna look like? In our config map. Okay, so we have pit 1. We haven't created pit 3 or rope, so I'm actually going to remove those two. And we're just going to focus on the ones we have right now. The second one, I think, is going to be a ladder. And so that means we can now create in our config.json. We can have u be, for example, a 1. We can have u be a ladder. And we'll make one more that's blank. And so then the idea is, of course, that we'll start where the ladder is. Now, to create, okay, so we go this far. We should be able to now create the config with this. We need to, in the main scene, remove U2 and fill match arms. Okay, so now we have ladder. So what are you supposed to do? So the way this is working is let pit 1 equals create pit 1. Okay, so we create a pit, and then we insert that pit into here. So we need everything that we need for a game object, and that means we go to game object. That means we need to know where it is. Okay, so we need its location. I'm thinking the exact center of the screen for all ladders, just right in the center there. Width and height. The height can probably be calculated, but we can also probably just manually calculate based on our numbers and deal with that too. Width. We can figure that out also. The draw system is important. We're gonna have to create that. The life system is important. No, okay. Well, there'll be none life system. Physics system will be none. my type will be game what are you? Feature, and then the feature type will be ladder. So we do have to set feature. Let's go to here. So feature types, we're gonna have a ladder. Makes me think that instead of game object feature types, what if we had this just be the map objects, the map features? Because then I don't have to duplicate, like repeat myself there. That feels better. All right. And then physics systems. What are you upset about? Match feature type. Okay. So the player physics system, we need this to handle like a new feature. All right. So add you in here. Okay, so we have a ladder, and we'll deal with you when we get to you. Hey, do you want me to throw another ball for you? All right, let's do this. Are you ready? Okay. That should make you happy. Okay, everything should still compile then. So what do we need? Game object. Location width first. Okay, so location is going to be x-centered. We can dynamically figure out where that's going to be and place that. Width. Okay, so we need to add that in ourselves. So let's add that in. This is going to be a ladder. So ladder. So location is probably not going to be, like, we don't need that. We need a width. What are we right now with the pit? We're at a pit with 125. So I can do the exact same thing and have this be 125. I feel like 100, just to make it obvious that it's a little bit thinner. Makes it easier to see. So if I do that, then over in I have it open. It's gonna be ladder width. Looks like I'm in the default right now. Add you in up here. And you'll be in F32. Okay, that's good. We also need the height that this is going to be. So if we imagine that this is going to be, I would say that the top of it is going to be at the middle. Oh, that's lovely. That happens every once in a while. So right around here, maybe let's go find. This is where we want essentially the top of the ladder to be. So I guess I want like the center here, with the height being from the top of this area all the way down to the bottom, which is pretty easy for us to calculate. Okay, so its location is going to be here. So I wonder if we should just set up a height for it now. And we can obviously play around with that too. Okay, so let's actually experiment with setting location height. Don't know if we want to set that in the JSON file. I think we're going to want to set that manually ourselves. And everything else will be in code. Okay, so that's the only thing we care about is the width. We probably care about the spacing of the ladders. But that's only because is that true? That's a graphic that's a graphical update. Probably true. We can control that. Let's add in here ladder spacing. And that's gonna be an F32 as well. We'll probably put it just a few pixels in between each one. And we're gonna have the ladder rung spacing and the hub ladder rung height. And also an F32. So that's gonna be how tall each rung is. The width will be the entire width that we have. And then we'll have a little gap between them. So we need U2. So then down here, we'll add U. So ladder rung height. I'm thinking right now these could be maybe 5 pixels. And spacing, we can try to set you as like 3 pixels, and we'll see how that looks. And we'll do the same thing over in a So let's do height 5 pixels. U. Three pixels. There we go. Okay, so we got that loaded up, meaning that we can now create the image that we're gonna need for our. So we can get location, we can go width, we can get height. So we can slowly start creating this. That's gonna be in builders here. I'm gonna create a new builder. Okay, so for our ladder, we're going to start with ladder, which is a type object, is equal to object builder. Oh, I need to bring you in. Builder, new. All right, so what do we need in here? We know we need a build. Okay, that's fine. So we know we need a draw system. So that's gonna be next for us. I think in order for it to not yell at us, all we need to have is a type. With type, and this is going to be a feature. So if I do that, that should actually give us the game object. We need to pull you in. And I'm not actually creating you like that. No, I want to do a create ladder dot unwrap. There we go. That's what I wanted to. Had it backwards. We're doing the game object builder up here. Okay, so pub function. Did you come back? No, you disappeared again. Okay, so create ladder. I don't know what we need to return right now, but we do want to return a result with a game object. And a game object builder error. There we go. So now you should be yelling this because we're not actually returning anything. Let's go ahead and start returning this. So game object builder, new. And this is where we have our build. That was the first thing. After that, the bare minimum that we need, I believe, is that with type. You're gonna be a feature, and then we build and return you. And yeah, you're not yelling at me, which means then we want to assert equal that ladder dot feature type is going to be game object types is feature. So if I run you test-wise, expected enum standard option. Oh, is because it's feature type an option? Oh, okay, it is an option. So unwrap. Expected enum. Let's see. Game object feature types found. Game object types. Oh wait, I want you to be not feature type. My type. You don't need to be an option. There. That should be better. Need to actually drink my tea, not just bring it down. There we go. Okay, so now you're happy. So as we need things, we can then go and encode them. So for example, we can do an assert equal ladder dot and figure out what's the first thing that we care about here. So we have a feature type. Okay, so we know that you must have a feature type, and that's going to have to be a sum game object feature types ladder. And so if I run this, we should just get an error saying, hey, you're none, but you should be a sum ladder. So here and add in dot with feature type and give a game object feature type ladder. rerun our test, and that should pass. And so we can just sort of go back and forth with these testing, make it not pass anymore. Oh, come on. I hate where it still doesn't bring my. I've got a bunch of this working, but not everything that I want. Also, we don't need you running. Well, hello there. Did you bring back? No? Well, if you don't bring it back, I can't throw it for you. Yeah, no, it's not. Oh, you're just playing with the cushion now. Cool. All right. So let's. All right. What's next? So equal ladder dot. We have feature type. Height. What is the height going to be here? So, we know the height is going to be the entire length from the bottom all the way up to that. What is it called? The game. So we can calculate this. We're gonna do let expected height equals. Okay, so we do need a config here. We just need a reference to a config, so we can just do that here. Let's see. This is gonna be config default. All right, so we need so equal ladder height, expected height. This is going to be a config dot resolution y minus, and so this entire fun thing. So the bedrock height, and then the cave height, and then the ground height. And then the surface bottom height. And then that's going to be it. It's going to end right there. Well, hello. How nice of you to help. And set the cat cam up again. Okay, so we have the expected height. So now your ladder to height should be equal to the expected height. Well, the only way that it's going to be able to calculate this for us is if we in create ladder, it does this calculation also, but that means it's going to have to take in a config. So let's add that right here. You'll need a config, and then you'll give us all this stuff. So you'll take in new config, which is a reference to a config. And actually, that was the wrong location. I want you to be there. Okay, so we can do a dot height, and now we have to do this exact same calculation. So go ahead, actually just grab you, copy you, and throw you in. Like that. And in order to make this test pass, because it is now a float compared to a float, we have to now do that fun allow Flippy float compare. All right, so that passed. We have a height now. What's next? A location. Okay. figure out what our expected location is going to be. It's going to be a 0.2 off of an algebra new. So for our x, we know that needs to be in the center of the screen. That's going to be our config.resolution x divided by 2. For the y, it's going to be from the bottom. So that's going to be config.resolution y minus half of the height. So the expected height divided by 2.0. And that'll be our location. So if I run you, we should get an error saying that, let's see, we had this 0.00 is not equal to this. So let's go fix that. Okay, so height. We need to provide this. No, this is not height. Location. This needs to be a 0.2. New, and then we're going to get that x and y. So the x is easy. It's that config.resolution x divided by 2. We're doing center points here, so the center location is where this is. And then we'll just do math out from there. All right, the y is going to be config.resolution x, resolution y, minus, and that's where that height comes in. So I actually want to store this height out here. Then in height, we'll bring you here. And then here, you'll be height divided by 2. And everything should still pass. Perfect. All right, what's next? My type. We have my type already in here. That was the first thing that we did. Width. Okay, so our width should be just straight up the config.ladder width. If we run this test, we should get, I think 0, 0 is the default width. Yeah, 0 width, but we should get 100. Width, it's config.ladder. Right, and you're happy again. Let's see, what's next? Oh, and that's it. Okay, so now that's all the properties that we were caring about. There's other things that we do care about here though, and we can now start implementing these. And if we break this somehow, then we'll know that things are bad. Okay, so we have build already, draw system. So we do need to have a draw system. But before we can build that, we're going to need the image that we draw out. So that's going to be going into the images. And we're going to want to store a ladder. And you're just going to be a straight up single mesh. Which means we're going to need a mesh builder here, a function to create these. So we're going to have a function create ladder. So how are we doing this? We're doing okay images, this. So something that I was thinking about is I don't actually like. Well, I suppose I do if I want to like create it at the beginning. Otherwise, they could be options. The builder pattern would probably have been better to use here, but that's all. It's all bygones, right? Okay, so you're gonna be a game object, game result, with a mesh inside. All right, so let's figure out how to create this. We know we're gonna have to have the config coming in, and we're probably also gonna have this context so we can build it. So bring in view and config. Then we'll do the mesh builder. So return. Mesh builder is going to be interesting because we're going to have to create a mesh and then have that be duplicated down. And because it's really just a bunch of rectangles spaced out between the height. But because we have this config and because we're doing create ladder here, we know how high the ladder should be. So height is going to be equal to, so we have to do this exact same calculation again. We can go back and just grab that out from here. Okay. Once we have that, we need to figure out how many rungs we're going to be able to get inside of this height here. So we can take the height, we can take how tall where do I want to put the gap? Do I want to put the gap at the top of the rung or at the bottom of the rung? I'm thinking the bottom of the rung. So it could be gap, rung, gap, rung, gap, rung. Regardless, the number of rungs is going to be the height, so that rung count is going to be equal to the height divided by, we have to do this individually first, and this is going to be the number, how tall each rung is. Config dot ladder rung, spacing plus config dot ladder rung height. Okay, so that's going to give us how many rungs we can have. And I wonder if we should convert this to like a usize or something for our account. I mean, F32 is fine. If I loop through this, I wonder what it's gonna print out. Like, do F32 loops? Does that even work? Let's try it. For count in 0 ... rung. And if we debug counts, so if I do that, we're going to call the create ladder, and I guess we're also going to, well, we need to return this game result, which I guess, well, we're not going to return a mesh. we just panic here? Mismatch types expected an integer. Okay, so you need to be a 0.0 through run count. Okay, so that's the trait bound F32 standard iterator step is not satisfied. Required because of requirements of impl iterator for range 32. Okay, so yes, we're gonna have to do 0 through run count as I do into. Will you convert? No, because you don't know how to convert into whatever you need. So what if I do as go into usize? Like we know we're not going to lose any information here. It will round down, which will be fine for us, and we don't really care. Now the count is going to be the number of them between. Okay. Now how much spacing between? We already have our spacing information. What if we go back at this from a different direction? What if instead of the spacing, we give it the size, and then it figures out. Wait, no, I've already done that. What if we give it the count, and then it calculates the spacing from that? That might work better. The math might work out a little bit better too. I want to kind of try this though, and I want to make sure that. Well, we're not. We know this is going to work now. I don't have to panic for this, because our count, like this is going to just go like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 up until whatever this is. So we need to start building our. Okay, so let our mesh builder, and we have one that goes through this loop here. So that mute mesh equals. Okay, so that's what we need to do. So that mute mesh equals mute builder new. Then inside of here, we need to start putting in rectangles. We also need to figure out where exactly we're putting these rectangles. How tall are they? That's gonna be fun. So let's try this. We're gonna do mesh is equal to mesh dot rectangle. It's gonna be a draw mode. Fill. Okay, bounds is a rect. So where is this going? We're not going to have to translate this because we know exactly where it's going to go. It's we have a location for it, and we can create that. If I say right now, we're going to start. So our location that we calculate where it's going to be is in the center there. So if I start with there, I need to go like up and then back to the left to figure out where this first rung goes. Does rect? We can actually create a rect out here. And then, let's see, I'll do that. Let rung equals rect new. So if I say that I want you to be, because I can't clone. Oh, I think I can reset you. I think I can change your location. So if I say that I want you to be at like 0, 0. Go in there. 0, 0. Our width is going to be config dot width, ladder width, and then our height is going to be these two things. That gives me a rect here, but I think recs implement clone. So I can then say let new rung equals rung dot clone. We need to make you mutable, and then I can position it correctly with a new rung dot I think x. Yeah, we can. Okay, so we can set this to be whatever we want it to be. Okay, so the x, we have to shift that over. The x is always going to be the same for all of these. They always start in the same place. So we can do that calculation over here. We can actually do that calculation here then. That's going to be our config dot resolution x minus half of the width. So config dot ladder width divided by 2.0. So then I need to set the y. The y is gonna be based upon the start of this plus however far down we go. So we need to start y. And that's, we have our height here. So that's going to be config.resolution y minus the full height. So height. Okay, then for you, we're going to set our y to be start y plus our count, and our counts can be multiplied by the rung height. And a rung height is these two together. And actually, we have that right here, the height. So we can just do new rung dot height. Okay. Then once we have that, we're gonna throw in this new rect. So new rung, and then our color. Okay. So we need to set what the color is gonna be. Let's figure that out. Ladder rung color. Can't remember. Can I get a picker out of here. Do I have one? Maybe? Looks like it will give me whatever information I want. So RGB or RGBA. Okay, that's nice. What? I need Node.js? Oh. Oh, Windows only. Well, I'm on Windows, so that works, I suppose. But I think it might be easier for us just to. Do I have? Oh, I don't have Firefox Developer Edition. Let's go find a color picker. Something brown. Maybe something like this, and that gives us that triple. And there we go. Okay, so that's what we're going to use to begin with, and I can always play around with that, make that look a lot better later. Okay, so that's ladder rung color. Head back over here. Okay, so we need to do the fun Serde equals config Serde color pub ladder rung color is a color. Color from RGB, and that's you. It doesn't have a ladder rung color. What did I do wrong? Wrong color. Okay. So then back to images. We'll do config.ladder rung color. Okay, so that gives us our mesh has been updated here. And then we just go through this. We're good. And then at the end, we should be able to build this. Now, I don't have the black rectangle around that. That should be fairly easy to create. I want to see if I can draw this out sooner than later, though. So we're going to return mesh.build, and this is where we hand in the context. Okay, so here we go. Ladder is a self, ladder, and the context and the config. And there we go. Count times new rung height. You're an F32, so you also need to be as F32. Okay, so we're all happy there again. Back to our builder here. We'll give ourselves a draw. Oh, we can't create the draw system yet. We have to still create the draw system. Where's our draw systems? There you are. This is going to be a ladder draw system. All right, let's do our. No, don't want that. Okay, fine. Let's see. Test. I don't know if I need to use super with this. I think we're fine. Just now have a test. Okay, so CI test create ladder system. All right, what are we gonna do here? Let ladder draw system equals draw system new, and we would expect you to have a type of a ladder draw system. Obviously, you're upset here. So pub struct ladder draw system. I don't know if I need to have anything stored inside of that yet. So it's impl draw system new. Just return self. Okay, so it's gonna make you work. Okay, so we have you. You should work now. We should be able to run this test, and it should be fine. Then we want to impl the draw system for this. So impl draw system or ladder draw system. Implement our missing members here. Okay, so for draw, all we want to do here is just do a graphics draw text. The drawable is going to be a reference to images.ladder, and then the draw params. And I think the way we created this, I won't have to do anything else, and we'll just return the result of this. Okay, so that's gonna be happy. All right. So now back to ladder here. We can now finally create our draw system. So draw system is gonna be a box new. Let's see. This is gonna be a ladder draw system. Do you not know how to get there? Oh, there it is. New. Okay. That should draw it out to the screen. Now I can take this, and our test should still work too. That this shouldn't have affected anything. We should be able to go down to our main scene. For our ladder now, we want to create. We're going to do the same thing that we have the pit. So ladder equals create ladder. Pass it in the config, and do that eval expect. Error creating ladder, and then we'll push that in. Self dot objects dot insert, and we need this to go behind the player index, but above the ground. So that's going to be interesting. So yeah, we need you at the very end. So maybe let's push this at the very beginning, like in front of everything. That's what we'll do right now. So ladder. Can I run you now? This just to me feels maybe a little bit too tall for a ladder. Also not, yeah, that's too many iterations through. So we got things wrong here. All right, so what do I need to do? Let's try creating just a single rung and see how that ends up looking. We can do that in our images here. So I'm gonna kind of reset this. Like not do all of you. Let's reset. All right, so we know we need. This is the height of the entire object. What I want right now is to create a single rung. If I create a single rung and we just position you in the center of the screen. So we want you, okay. So config resolution x divided by 2.0 minus then half of this. So config dot ladder width divided by 2.0. Okay, so that should put you in the center of the screen. I can put you at the top, y-wise. Here's your width, and then your height is actually just going to be the ladder rung height. We need our mesh. Then I want to build you, but for right now, let's do count in 0 through 1. We clone the rung, the rung. Well, you're gonna yell at me because I don't need to clone. It's just one of these. Mesh equals this. Okay, so what if actually we just do this here? Mesh equals mesh dot rectangle draw mode fill. We have our rung. This can be config dot rung color. And then we build you. Okay, so if I don't do anything else in here, we just do create a single one, how does this look? Okay, there's our rung up there. So I want to now position you to be at the right spot horizontally. So the starting position here, let's actually set that. So this is going to be the config.resolution y minus, and then this is where the height comes in. And then test again, and we'll take a look. All right, so that's clearly too high. Our calculation is clearly incorrect here. All right, so what do we have? We have the config resolution high. And I think that's our problem. The height isn't config resolution high. So that means our entire game object and everything else is incorrect here. When we're creating a ladder, our height should be without this. The height should actually be, start this over again. It should just be all those elements added up together. So that's going to be config dot bedrock height plus config dot the cave height plus config dot the ground height plus config dot surface bottom height. And that's it. That's all we care about. So if we test this, we should get the left doesn't equal right. Yeah, okay, this looks a lot better. 290 height, that feels much better. So we're gonna take you and do that calculation here. There we go. Okay. So then back to images. Our height is actually all of those things combined together. All right. Okay. So that's our height and config resolution y minus that height. Okay. Let's run this and test, see what we can see. There we go. Okay, this is a much better position here. Then I want another rung down here. So we now have to create our rungs and go down. So what is that going to look like? That's going to be we're now going to have this for loop. So if I do just let's say 5 of these total. So we could have 5 of them going down. We clone this rung. We calculate the new y. However, because this y is now set for where that is, I don't think we need to do we need to do this. We need to figure out what our spacing is. So instead of start y like this, let's do spacing y. Spacing y is going to be our. Well, we already have that, don't we? Because we have a config dot rung spacing. So if that's true, we're going to have a new y is going to be plus equals. So plus equals to whatever. Okay, so whatever our count is times the height of this y of each rung. And okay, we have that. So we do okay. We need the rung height here. The combined rung height is config dot ladder rung spacing plus config dot ladder rung height. This is going to be the combined rung height. So plus equals to that. So that then goes down to create the new one. I think Zilby found a paper towel, a paper bag. I don't know if you were able to hear that. That was loud though, at least in my ears. And Zilby's not here right now, so I'll turn that off. Okay, so combined rung height. Then we put this in here. I want to see what this looks like. Okay, there we go. Now we have two of these. And we have the gap in them too, which is nice. Now I did 0 through 5, but I only saw 2 of them, which is right because they're just showing up here. So what I could do is I could change like the one that we're constantly using, or plus equals the combined rung height times count. And you need to be as F32. Okay, there's our 5 now showing up here. We can play with our spacing a bit with that config.json file. So our spacing, if I say that I want you to be like 7 pixels, but the height is maybe I think 5, but then like a bigger gap between them. That looks a lot better. And so now I want this all the way down. So we have to calculate how many of these. Where is images? We have to calculate how many of these to actually do now, and that was this. It's now going to be let's see, where's our dot through the rung counts as just a U32. We don't need to use this because rung is actually going to auto copy for us. Okay, that's good to know. And let's see how this ends up looking. There we go. Now we have rungs all the way down to the ground. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to have a black box around them. And we want to add this into the mesh before we do our loop. Hey, Chantilly. Good morning. And we've already done that there. I don't need to add in the rectangle mesh here. I guess what I do need to do is a new rect with this. So this is going to be a fill. For you, we want you to be the cave color, which we just know is black. So you're going to be a rect new. Okay, so our location of where we're going to start is going to be exactly the same as this rung. So, well, minus a little bit. So that's going to be rung.x minus some amount. I wonder if we could have this in the config, which would give us a little bit of a margin for this. Let's add that here. We'll do ladder margin. And let's maybe make this like 10 pixels. And then we'll go to our config JSON and add the same thing in here. So ladder margin, make it 10 pixels. And you're all happy there. Let's come back to images. I want to subtract the margin on this side. So it's going to be config dot ladder margin. So that's going to be our X where we're starting. Our Y, I want to do the same thing here. So that's going to be our rung.y minus config.ladder margin. Then our width is going to be the config.ladder width times, no, plus config.ladder margin times 2. And then our height is going to be this height plus config.ladder margin times 2. So now I'm adding in the black background before the rungs. So they should now show up and look nice on the screen. Like that. Okay. So then this shows that now there's a ladder that we can get up. And looking at this, I actually don't want the height to go all the way through the bedrock because that looks like we can climb down. And that doesn't make any sense. So I need to change that. We can shift this up a little bit, but I think the easiest thing to do would be we want to have our height not include the bedrock. So when we're creating our objects here, we don't include the bedrock height. But in our positioning, we have to take into account the bedrock height. That's actually going to be a little bit interesting. So the positioning here, so expected height, expected location is going to be resolution y minus expected height divided by 2 minus config dot bedrock height. And that should put it in the correct location. Right, okay. So basically everything, let's see, what are you're at, you didn't tell me, 46. That's the expected height. So fix you. And then our location, so config resolution height minus height minus config dot bedrock height. There we go. Okay. Now the images, which does its own calculations based upon what we want it to look like. Let's see. So the height of the image is going to be the exact same thing. We're not going to include the bedrock height, but we're going to have to include it in our calculations for where to start. So in here, okay, so config resolution by minus height minus config dot bedrock height is where we start things, and everything else is based upon that. So I think that'll make it look the way I want it to. Almost. We almost get it to look there. It still clips a little bit into the bedrock here, because we have that margin at the bottom, I believe. Well, hello there. He'll be saying that it's time for us to go. I think he wants me to play with him. Up, and I'm almost out of toys to throw for him. We got one more. Let's go that way. Go get it. Okay, so I think the margin looks great, except for at the bottom. The margin looks terrible. Let's see. So our mesh triangle, this is too high. Oh, and that's because, let's see, our rung y minus margin, and then our, why are you not showing h here? Seems odd. There's still a comma, so it looks right. So height plus, so you're starting at the rung y minus the config ladder margin, and then what if I just want you to be the height like that? That doesn't look too bad. And then we can play around with this with our config to set the gaps between. So with our ladder rung height, the height looks good. The spacing, let's make this something like 15. So now we can't fall down this. We can just run right across it. Although, like, you still try to jump. We can run across here, fall into this pit, come back here, and it's like, oh, okay, time for us to climb up it. Now we draw behind this, so we need to draw ourselves in front of this. And that's going to be interesting, because when we're in here, we want the player to, yeah, okay. This is gonna be interesting how we end up doing this, and positioning that. But we're gonna have to do that next time. So let's go ahead and start cleaning up. How do I have 9? I keep on getting these errors where it's telling me there's errors in macros. I need to restart the server. Just not very helpful. Chantilly, you redeemed Pet the Cat, but Zilby just ran out. Like, I threw that ball for her, and he went out, grabbed it, and then left. So I don't think I'm going to be able to pet the cat. All right, so unused config. Let's go ahead, underscore a bunch of these. That makes you happy here. Unused. Well, right, this is part of that test. we're not using you. This is the player physics system. We're not using you. Okay. And that's it. No more errors. Yeah, next time. Definitely next time. Let's go ahead and close all of you down. And we'll update our changes. We're in the correct branch. So we created the ladder. It is showing up on the screen, but in front of the player. So we're probably going to have to query and extract the player out, put the ladder in, and then put the player in. Because we need to make sure, we need to shuffle that around a little bit to make sure that on those pages, the player is in front. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But we'll deal with that next time. All right, so with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and switch to my ending